Hey, what's going on, Trojan family? Welcome to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports, and we are your home for USC Trojans news. Thank you, as always, for making us a part of your day. Big news out of USC. Unfortunately, not the best news. 5-star, number one linebacker in the 2026 class, the highest rated commit in USC's 2026 class, has decommitted from the Trojans as of 30 minutes ago. I was out on a run, so if I look a little red, that's why I was out on a run. Training for a half marathon. Not that you guys care. I'm running a half marathon in New York this weekend. So out training and get this news, and like, all right, we got to get back, get on the mic, get on the keyboard, get these articles up. Because yeah, I mean, this is a big loss. Like I said, the number one linebacker, Xavier Griffin, decommitted. It's a big loss. Let's just start with that. All right, I'm going to talk about why there shouldn't be panic, why this is a move signaling a direction that USC has taken that should still be viewed in a positive light and should still not put any fear or panic in fans. But I just want to start by giving respect to Xavier Griffin, his family, because this dude's a baller. I mean, he is a fantastic player. You watch his tape. Dude can be an off-ball linebacker, can be an edge rusher. His bend, his wiggle, his speed, his first step quickness can really play all over the field. I honestly felt USC was going to use him more as an edge than maybe a linebacker. I know he's listed as linebacker on most sites, but he can play everywhere. Versatile guy, which I've talked about ad nauseum, which DC Dan Lynn loves, Coach Henney loves, the entire coaching staff loves. So what they were going to be able to do with Griffin, I think, put him in the running for the next 5-5, which we've been waiting for USC. And so I just want to at least say this is a loss. He is a fantastic player and would have looked great in the Cardinal and gold here in Los Angeles. So wish Griffin and his family nothing but success. This was not any malice or anything like that. And that's what I'll get to now, because why there shouldn't be panic is, and this is what I've heard. I've talked to people since this happened, and I honestly had kind of a feeling this may be coming, just because you see, and obviously there's other kids like the Ohio kids that have committed, and Albert Hill and Sean Alston, and you see other, from Texas and whatnot. But I think the resounding sentiment of Cali kids, California being the place to recruit from, the adoption of kind of that mindset. And Griffin has never really, I'm not going to say wasn't in the fold on that, but it never felt like he was truly a part yet of that fabric. Like the guys I mentioned, Albert Hill, Sean Alston, it's been like well documented. They've like felt like they've been in the family. Like they are part of, they are an Angelino now. You talk about some of the Texas kids, some of these other recruits that are around the country, Ohio, well, I already mentioned Ohio, but Jonas Williams being from Illinois, they've kind of already been, I don't want to say indoctrinated, but like really welcomed. And I'm not saying at all that Xavier Griffin wasn't welcome, but at least he hasn't publicly kind of displayed that all-in mentality. And so this is being reported by many others, but also I can say, based on who I've talked to as well, since before this happened, since after, USC is going with this new approach of like, when you commit, that's it. Like we don't want you taking any more visits. Like, you're shutting recruitment down. And we've talked about it a bunch, right? Like, Kenya Pepe's shut his recruitment down. Katunga, all the big names have shut their Tapui, have shut their commitment down. And it's, they're all in on USC. No more visits, no more of that. Xavier Griffin wanted to keep taking visits. It's his right to. That's not by any means a bad thing. I've always said I believe once you commit, that should be it. I've used the analogy of, dating. If you're dating people, great. Once you tell that person, hey, I'm not going to see other people, like I'm exclusively dating you, then that's what a commitment is, right? That's making a commitment. To me, if you make that commitment and then continue dating, what's the point of committing? So what we're hearing is that basically both sides said, hey, if you don't want to shut down your recruitment, great. Why don't you decommit? You can do that because we want guys committed, and we only have enough spots, right? Like, we're going for this class of 30, 35 recruits at your position. We only have kind of 3 to 4 spots available. So this will allow us to go after other guys. And hey, who knows? I mean, Xavier Griffin he already has 4 official visits scheduled: Alabama, Ohio State, and others. I think Florida and Florida State are the 2 others, and Georgia, I'm sure, will get one. He may end up going through the whole process and come December or come fall, be like, you know what? No, I want to be at USC. Like, what they offer is great, like, and then recommit or whatever. I'm not saying, that's very unlikely, but there's a chance that can happen. But this now allows him to go, continue his recruiting, continue his visits, but allows USC to go and pursue others. Because the last thing you want to happen as a program is someone's committed to you. So you've then basically said, okay, we allocate, let's say, 4 spots to the edge position, which, again, I think he was going to play more edge. We've allocated 4 or 5 spots to edge. We have 4 or 5 commitments. So you want to keep communication maybe open with others, because obviously we know these decommitments can happen, but you're not like recruiting hard because you've got your guys. Well, then let's say that either Griffin or someone else decommits like late in the process. Now all of a sudden you're screwed, because you're going to have to push hard to flip someone, and they're like, well, where have you been this whole time? Like, you're only going after me because some guy decommitted from you. And so it kind of this protects USC in a way of like, hey, we want you to stay, but if you want to keep taking visits, by all means go, but we're going to pursue others that want to be here. And not saying Griffin didn't want to be here, because all indications are he was not wavering from his commitment, but he just wanted to keep exploring and pursuing and dating. And so, when you're in a relationship, you say, hey, if you want to go date, but we're not in a relationship then. Like, go and explore, and then we'll see if we can mend things afterwards. But there's no sense of us being mutually exclusive if you're not going to be. So it was a mutual decision, it seems like. It's a bummer, because like I said, at the top, Griffin's a fantastic player. Would have done so many good things. But, and I'm sure other fans will pop in here and shoot some strays, this is not coping. This is the way that USC is now running things, with Chad Bowden at the helm, and with this new kind of found recruiting tactic by Lincoln Riley and his staff is like, hey, we're going to go hard after these recruits, and then when we get a commitment, they're committed. Like, they need to lock it down. And if they don't want to lock it down, then don't be committed. It's that simple. And so I think I appreciate that, because it has clarity. You're not going to get blindsided in November all of a sudden, a guy flipping or decommitting. We saw that happen so much last year, so I think this was a somewhat of a 180 turn because of what happened last year, of now being like, all right, yeah, we're not going to deal with all that. We'd rather be at the front of it and know, the Julian Lewis situation of taking 70 visits, 22 plus visits after being committed. You don't want to be in that anymore. So they'll go after others. Again, I viewed him a little bit more as an edge, but listed as a linebacker, could play both. But specifically speaking of linebacker, another crystal ball just today, because I know this news is announced. I'm sure that they've talked about it wasn't they talked about this an hour ago and it was decided. I'm sure that this has been in the works for a little while potentially. But another crystal ball, this one from Tom Loy of 24/7 Sports, for Talanoa Ely to commit to USC. So now that's 6 expert predictions, 3 from On3, 3 from 247, maybe even Rivals, honestly. I haven't even looked. And so he has a lot of official visits coming up. He was just at UCLA this past weekend. He's got BYU, Oklahoma, Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame, and USC is one of those. So a lot of official visits. So this is definitely not done. But getting a commitment like from Ely, again, he's in Hawaii now, but a local kid for all intensive purposes, would soften the blow of losing a Griffin. And now, we talk about some of these other edge prospects. Luke Waffle is one that Coach Henney and Nua, I think, both just did an in-home visit with. He's a great 4-star prospect that that they're going to pursue more heavily now, obviously having kind of the position allocation. They could potentially have another position allocation now for an interior defensive lineman. Obviously, not that Griffin was interior, but you look at this And I think what's great that maybe I think fans are really smart, so I don't want that to come out at all. But what even I've learned is when the recruiting process, like coaches it's almost like a draft. Like you almost have like a big board. And you have kind of your list of all the guys at each position you want to target, but you only have so many amount of players you can take from each position. So once you kind of have like 4 or 5, whatever it may be, checked, then that position is, done. We're done recruiting that position. We're good. One end up decommitting. Now you have that opening. You reopen it for all these other guys, but you want to know that before you get too late in the process if you haven't been recruiting the other guys. So anyway, that's just kind of how I'm wrapping my head around it. Tough loss. Also, based on what I heard, he was asking for big NIL money. And remember, love it, hate it, whatever you want to say, Griffin committed July 31st of last year, 6 months before Chad Bowden was hired by USC. So the entire recruiting philosophy, NIL allocation, just the whole front office is completely different than what it was on July 31st when he committed. Also, when he committed on July 31st, coaching staff was a little different, right? Coach Entz was the linebacker coach at the time. And again, Henne, I think, was heavily involved because I think he'll be more edge. But whether Rob Ryan's been involved, I know they've met. I know Rob Ryan's been down to Georgia to meet him. So that's changed too. So none of this is supposed to be a cope. This is nothing against how great of a player Xavier Griffin is, but his recruitment was different when he committed than it is now. How USC probably wants to allocate NIL based on what he wants, like big money. We're talking, I don't know the figures, but I'm guessing probably like Jakeem Stewart type money. And how they want guys to just shut it down when they commit is all different than it was in July 31st of 2024. So, mutual decision. It's a bummer one because of how good of a player he was, how great it would have been to see him at the Collie. You never know. It's still an outside chance. This is a long way to go. Maybe he goes on these visits and he says, you know what, something at SC is special. Like, I want to be there. But I wish nothing but the best for Griffin. He's going to be a great player in this league, potentially a great player on Sundays. Family seems fantastic, so wish him nothing but the best. But in terms of USC, while a loss for sure, I don't think this should be a panic. No one should panic on this, just because this was a decision made based on a newfound philosophy in recruiting, not a player being disgruntled or not getting what they want or having NIL issues or having communication issues with whoever the GM was. Like, this is none of that, where some of the past decommitments potentially had some of those issues. This was purely a philosophical difference in how each party wanted to move forward and deciding it was best to part ways. So that is why I don't think there should be any room for panic. It's a bummer. Sucks. Big loss. Great player. But USC has a lot of top-tier players that they're going after that they will add. And this class will be a 35-player class when it's all said and done. So, want to get on here quick. I just, please, flood the comments. Let's get this. Because this is the first really big loss, really, that USC's probably in recruiting had since Hayden Lowe decommitted. Because that was, the most recent. Obviously, Justice Terry and those guys were all early on. And Julian Lewis was obviously a big one, but that was all combined with the commitment of who they ended up getting at quarterback, which I think worked out better for everyone with Hassan Longstreet. So I think the in terms of just blows of loss, I think Hayden Lowe would be the latest one. And this now is the newest, biggest loss, and especially in terms of just ranking, being the number one linebacker in the class, 5-star recruit. So, but I love to hear your guys' thoughts. Are you panicking? You feel okay with it? You bummed by it? Are you kind of excited that USC is kind of holding true to their new philosophy? And doesn't matter if you're a 5-star, a 4-star, or a 3-star, like, this is the way they're doing it and they're staying on that path, staying convicted with that. So let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Comment on LAFBnetwork.com. Well, I'll have this posted as well. You can comment right in the article there. Forum is going up soon. Keep teasing it. It's a lot of work. Forum will be up very soon where we can all chat about this. But if you have not already, please hit that like and subscribe button. USC LAFB is the YouTube channel. At LAFB Network is everywhere you can find us on socials. If you prefer audio, Spotify, Apple, just search Salute to Troy. And as I say, everything can be found on LAFBnetwork.com. Thanks for always jumping on with me. Tonight, Wednesday, 7 p.m., Tim and Madman will be live on the USC LAFB channel. I'm sure this will be the main topic of discussion. So it's the live call-in show. If you want, bring your calls. And, it's going to be a lively show, I am very sure. So I'd love to hear your guys' calls on that 7 p.m. Pacific time, USC LAFB YouTube channel with Tim and Madman live call-in show. That's it for me. Everyone be well, be safe. We'll talk soon. And as always, fight on.